not say that. So you're telling me there's a chance? Okay, just help.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to this episode of the Road to Redemption podcast. Cam here, as always, no guest this time. We actually had an amazing episode about, yesterday? Acted like it was a long time ago. See what I did there? No, yesterday, Sean at Badass Canuck and I had a great interview, and I would love to talk about fatherhood with him. He's a big figure in the fatherhood world, especially with his son. Like he said, some of his pictures have gone viral. If you guys haven't checked out that interview, definitely do that. Sean's a good guy, and I really enjoyed talking to him. And like I told him, I love talking to people with accents. It just your importance level goes up by 10%. You feel like you're talking to somebody super famous when they have an accent. At least for here in the States, that's how it feels. So I really enjoyed our talk, and yeah, go check it out. It was posted yesterday. I hope a lot of you guys are doing that and showing Sean a lot of love. So that was yesterday. Today is New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's Eve to you guys. And what the heck has been going on? With me, I've been, doing the same old. I feel like everything from the holidays has been kind of slow. Not a whole lot going on. I can tell you one thing. I made a hard decision, hard line in the sand. I'm not going to, there's a place that the kids like to go to, like Starbucks, something like that. I'm not going there anymore. I realized the other day, I was coming back from jiu-jitsu, and I was like, I really freaking need a coffee. I'm trying to do this new thing where I try not to start my day off with coffee, but I start it with water and lemon juice. So I had the water and lemon juice before jiu-jitsu. Coming home, I was still drained. I just couldn't get my juices flowing, and I was like, I need a freaking coffee. I'll stalk through this damn green lady, whatever the fuck. And yeah, it was like $4.90 for a 26-ounce coffee, and it didn't even taste that good. It was coffee, yeah, it's bean water, I guess, but it was so just unimpressive for the quality. And I'm not one that's going in there with my laptop to gain the ambiance and the experience of the green lady, but for the price value. Let's be real. I usually buy it's not a gallon, it's 32 ounces of cold brew coffee for $4.99. 32 ounces gives me 5 so cups of coffee, and it tasted way better. And I didn't have to wait in a line. I don't have to do all this. Starbucks is a freaking ripoff. I'm done with it. So now I just buy those things from Kroger's, 32 ounces, and it gives me plenty of coffee for a day. Probably too much coffee, honestly, if I'm following doctor's orders and not consuming as much caffeine as I have. Yerba mate sitting right here by me. But the other one's a ginger ale. So give me a break. And especially with Starbucks too, one of the things that during my upbringing, I was always taught, if you have to put things in your coffee, it's like alcohol, right? If you have to put things in your alcohol or put things in your coffee, then you don't like that thing. Don't waste it for the people that do. And at Starbucks, the taste is not good, so I put a splash of almond milk in there, and it was like, okay, this just tastes like a watered-down version of what I just drank that I didn't enjoy. And, that's kind of always been the rule that I followed with everything. If you have to add a bunch of creamers and sugars and crap, you don't enjoy the beverage. Don't buy that. Go buy a smoothie, or go buy something else besides taking something that could ultimately be good for you. And again, guys, I'm a fucking asshole. If right now there's tons of people that are listening going, well, actually, I like caramel lattes and their frappes, and live your fucking lives, guys. I'm not telling you not to. I'm saying that's the way I was brought up. And if we've learned anything through the Road to Redemption podcast, it's that Cam's upbringing wasn't the healthiest. So let's not base our fucking life decisions off what Cam's done. Shall we, everyone? Drink your coffee and mix it with whatever you want. Take your alcohol and go nuts. It's New Year's. chase it with Big Red for all I give a shit. Guys, in reality, it's New Year's Eve, be safe, don't drink and drive. Cause I'm a good example now. It's not at all the pot calling the kettle black for a guy with 3 DUIs telling you not to go out and drink and drive. What the heck else has gone on this week? So yeah, I had the Starbucks thing. It's honestly just been slow. It's been a slow deal. I did notice another one of my observations while I was at the Starbucks was back when I was younger. People always used to yell at me. All right, I was a wannabe thug or whatever you call it. I had the real baggy pants and never wore a belt. And they always hung down past my ass. And my grandpa would always be like, pull your belt, pull your pants above your ass. No one wants to see your underwear. And me, I used to wear basketball shorts. I would wear 2 pairs of basketball shorts under my jeans, and I never did it for because I was a big hooper or anything like that. I did it because I was a fucking douchebag, and I thought it made you look tough or whatever. And then it got to the point where I stopped doing it because I saw Eminem do it. I did it because that's what I wore, and I never wore a belt. My pants were always falling down below my ass. And now I was going to get up out of my car the other day, and with my wallet, right now I'm sitting on my wallet, which is not advised. Men, if you sit on your wallet in your back pocket, you're actually curving your spine. Again, practice what you preach. I'm sitting on my wallet. I was sitting on my wallet, and then I went to get up out of my car, and my pants, I'm wearing tighter pants. I mean, they're not I have some jeans that are pretty skinny, but these are not it. But these are the ones I was actually wearing. And I went to get up, and my belt and my pants were so tight that I went to get up, and I was like, oh, and I made that noise. I was like, oh, Jesus. And the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, what a transformation I've gone through. That I used to go from wearing pants that were way too big with no belt to now I wear pants that, let's be honest, are probably a little too small, probably a little too tight, but it's comfortable and I like the way it looks, so fuck off. And now I wear a belt with those. Which, guys, these some bitches ain't going nowhere. I promise you that. It's tight enough. 31, 32s here that I got on. 31 waist, 32 length. Your boy's got that odd dimension. And I just thought it was funny. Then I looked around. Same thing all across the board. Guys with painted on jeans with belts. The same guys that 2, 3, 4 years ago you'd have caught them rocking a pair of Echo Unlimiteds, fucking 34, 36 waist sizes, and they're my size, and no belt. What happened? Is it a maturity thing that you just, now it feels, because it does. To me, it feels weird if you don't have a belt on. If I leave the house and I sit down in my car and you can feel it when the absence of a belt is there, and I've worn the same belt, shit, probably, if you guys need a quality belt, this Fossil leather belt, because this thing's been through some shit. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. I don't know what that's all about. That we as dumb kids go, well, I don't need anything to hold my pants up. This makes me look tough. I don't know why I said that in a country accent. I grew up in the inner city of Columbus, Ohio. It's not country at all. None of my family's country either, so I don't know who I was imitating there. But yeah, I thought it was funny. The switches we make as we grow up. The other thing that happened that I thought was pretty notable, one of my friends is actually going now to take the American citizenship test. She's I think she said end of January she goes to take her. She's Canadian. That's her native land. I've been hanging out with a lot of Canadians recently. Fun fact, actually, there was a band that I used to listen to in high school, or right out of high school, probably right before high school. They were Canadian. It was Hawk Nelson. It was a Christian rock band, and they were Canadian. And I wanted nothing more than to be Canadian because I just loved them, and I loved they were so cool, and I thought it was cool to be Canadian. And some of the most influential people that we listen to are Canadian. Jim Carrey is Canadian. Chris Farley, I believe, was Canadian. There's a lot of Canadians that are big names over here that is actually idolized. Mark Wahlberg is not. He's from here. Ryan Reynolds is Canadian. Yeah. So anyway, my friend is telling me, I finally got slotted. I'm going to take the citizenship test here at the end of next month. And I said, oh yeah, what kind of stuff is on the Canadian citizenship test? And she says, well, here, I'll read you off some of the practice answers, or questions. And when she did that, I'm going to be real honest with you guys, I didn't know a lot of it. And I thought it was absolute dog shit. And I'm telling her this the whole time that she came into work. And she's reading off these questions, and she was like, and it's the way that things are worded. It's not that you wouldn't know them as Americans, but it's that the way that they word it, it's tricky. So it's like, what is the law of the land in the United States? I was like, fuck, I don't know. Do unto others as you want done unto you. I don't know. That's the golden rule, right? Do unto others as. And I said, she goes, no, it's the Constitution. And I was like, oh shit. And then it's like, what are the original what's the original 13 states? I was like, fuck, I don't know. What was the other one? It was just stuff like that, where if you thought about it, like the original 13 colonies, you would know it if it was asked a certain way. But I also told her, I said, hey, remember, talking to some of you guys with GED, you can't ask me, like, I feel like an asshole because I was in the military, I'm a grown adult, and like, I couldn't tell you what year World War I was. I don't know what year World War II was. I don't know all that kind of shit. I don't know. I could tell you like Vietnam and kind of the rough time period. I know that like the World War I and World War II, kind of Germany was involved and that kind of shit. Like I know the basics, but I don't know specifics. So I realized like fuck, I couldn't even pass the citizenship test for the state or the country that I live in. Which made me feel a little bummed out. Made me feel like a dummy. But yeah, but again, it's not like I'm going to take actual action to fix those things. And, it's something that I complain about, that I'm not scholastically intelligent. But then again, I don't do much to actually fix it. But I thought it was kind of crazy. They expect people that want to become citizens of this country to know, which, like we had said, it's kind of more to show that you give a damn. Honestly, it's not really that you're ever going to use that information. I've never used algebra or history or anything that I was supposed to learn in school. I've never used it in my daily life besides like basic math, reading, writing, that kind of shit. But I thought it was interesting. I definitely thought it was interesting, the dynamic that was, the questions typed that were asked, and I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was cool to learn what is expected to be a citizen here in this country, and it gives you a different appreciation for the people that go through it and the studies that they have to do. They're given a test booklet with 100 questions, and they have to get 10 right. It was 6 out of 10. Once you get 6 out of 10, you pass the test and you move on. But you have to know the 100 because any one of those 100 could pop up as the 10. And yeah, I guess, guys, and one thing, honestly, that it did make me realize is the privilege that we have in the United States. Like, the fact that I was so quick to be like, yeah, but I don't give a shit about that stuff. It's like, yeah, but you know what? I should care because I'm a veteran and I should care about the people who fought before me, that did things for our country. I should know that kind of stuff. It's important to my heritage and who I am, and it's a part of me, so I should know that. I shouldn't be so quick to just be like, I don't fucking know, GD, and sometimes I do use that as like a defense mechanism. I know that I'm not very scholastically intelligent, so I'm like, I got a GED. It's like, yeah, I need to stop joking about that, because it's not funny to be uneducated about things that you really should give a shit about. You should care about your knowledge of where you live and where you're from. I take a lot of pride in being from Ohio, and it's something I don't think I've ever verbally expressed, but it's a goal of mine to kind of put Columbus, Ohio on the map. Besides the Ohio State Buckeyes, Forrest Griffin, but a lot of people don't even know he's from there. There's really nobody that's put Columbus, Ohio on the map as doing something of relevance, especially outside of, like I said, college football. I mean, if you think of big names that come out of Columbus, it's always people that played for the Buckeyes, and I kind of want to do that. And my whole goal of doing the podcast is so that way influence the world with the way that I think and the way that I see things, and how I always try to be objective and critical of both sides and give both sides credit when it's due, so that way we can become a more unified world, not just country. There's people that listen to this show from all different parts of the world, but that's my goal, is to put Columbus on the map using my mind. So therefore, I don't intentionally, what I found about myself is it's not that I don't care. I don't not care what year, like I could Google it right now, what year was the, World War I, World War II, and then I would know it, because I'd be like, oh, I remember what, during my show, I Googled it. And I know there's people that are screaming into their phone, you fucking moron, it was this year and this year. I get it. And, I will look it up and I will correct that and stop making it a defense mechanism to just say things like, oh, I have my GED. But I found about myself that unless I genuinely have an interest in something, I have a very hard time dedicating myself to learning about it. I watched The Theory of Everything, the Stephen Hawking story. It was a movie that was made about him in 2014. And it was an amazing movie. And he's so intelligent and he's so smart. And, I like the fact that they didn't make him out to be like, a lot of the super smart guys. He's a physicist. They make him kind of weird with women and they make him kind of socially awkward. Stephen Hawking wasn't. He was very charming, which is how he got the wife that he did. And he was a very brilliant, overall cool guy. And it was a shame, he got Lou Gehrig's disease and died. But, again, they gave him 2 years to live, and he far, far, far surpassed that. But the reason of bringing all this up, I now want to buy the book, the Theory of Time, and, that first book that he wrote. I want to learn about it. I want to know what information he's giving out because I genuinely care. And I think that stuff like that, to me, is way more important. I would rather read books on the mind and how the mind works and behavior and things like time and theories of how time works. To me, that's the important stuff. I have all the respect in the world to people who have ever fought in a war and what they've done to build our country and all this kind of stuff, but I care more about how I can take the world and move it forward. Looking back is good, but only if it's to see how far you've come. I know how cliche and cheesy that is, and there's people going, oh my God, I can't believe he even just said that, but it's true. I don't want to be one of those people that is constantly talking about what was. I don't constantly want to be telling stories of, glory days, and that's why I don't talk about my military experience very much, because to me, I don't want my best days to be behind me. I don't want the thing that I was so proud of, and my military career is something that I was very, very proud of. Because, like I said, I didn't graduate high school. The first thing I ever graduated was basic training. So that was the first thing. I had been told my whole life that, Cam doesn't finish things, he just quits, this, that, and the other. Well, basic training was the first thing. I didn't quit. I didn't try to find a way out. I completed it. And then I didn't do much from like 2010 to 2015. I had 5 years of kind of just being a weekend warrior in the reserves as an MP. And then I turned around and I deployed to Guantanamo Bay. And again, I didn't try to get out of it. I actually really wanted to go. I did my time there. I got in a little bit of trouble for drinking while I was there. But I did my job and I did it well. And I was very proud of my time. And I even made a video about it, how it kind of messed me up because I thought that I had finally done something that was worth a shit, being deployed and being inside the camps of Guantanamo Bay, and it wasn't good enough. Everybody told me, well, it's not a combat deployment, you didn't do anything, you sat around Cuba, which is a beach, and people don't know. And that's fine. I don't care if people think that what I did was honorable or not. I know what my experience was like, and I don't owe anybody an excuse, or I don't owe anybody a reason as to why I'm proud of myself for doing those things. But again, I don't want graduating basic training in 2010 or going through a deployment in 2015 to 16. I don't want that to be my proudest days. I want every day that I'm a good father to be my proudest day. I want to legitimately impact the world with this podcast and with this social media to the way to where people are like, this guy who seemingly came up with nothing from nothing, the Cinderella story, that's what I want. And I don't think that's too much to ask. And one thing that has been resonating over and over and over with me recently, and people keep saying it, and I'm always on the watch for people that continuously say, because that means that something, I'm supposed to be learning a lesson if something keeps popping up. It's always been the case with me, is I always am looking for signs, but then when the signs come, I'm like, oh man, I don't know why people keep saying that to me, and then I ignore them. And one of those things is changing the way that I think about what is possible. So I was talking to my jiu-jitsu coach James the other day, and he goes, you know, what's your plan for 2019? And I said, well, you know, I hope to be financially free. I made some bad financial decisions. You know, I bought all this stuff for the podcast, and put myself in kind of a hole. Put myself and my wife in kind of a financial hole, investing in this show. And my hope is to be financially free, or not so stressed financially. And, you know, yeah, I had to pay for lawyers and stuff. It happens, the usual. But, and I'm sorry for the YouTube. I keep rubbing the top of my mustache because I just trimmed it out last night and it's itching the hell out of me. I want to be financially free of stress, and I want to learn to be more financially responsible. I want to stop spending money that I'm not supposed to spend, and buying shit to try to think that, like, by buying these supplements and having them behind me, and yes, I use them, but by having them behind me, I'm going to be able to market them to where people actually start to buy them. I have to take my own advice, and people don't care what supplements I take. They take their own. People aren't going to just, I'm on such a small scale on the social media spectrum that people aren't going to look at my Onnit stuff and go, oh, hey, Cam takes Onnit, I want to take Onnit too, and, you know, whatever. That's why it's all keeping things into perspective. Yes, you have to dream big, but you also have to be realistic, especially when it comes to things like finances. Because he goes, well, the reason you'll never be financially free is because of what you said. And I said, well, what did I say? He said, you say it. And I said, oh, I hope to be. He goes, right there. You hope. By hoping, that means you're not planning to. You've just limited yourself, and you've just manifested it out there that whether it comes or doesn't, it doesn't really matter to you. You're just leaving it up to hope. You have to plan. In 2019, I will be financially free. I will be less stressed financially. And I said, okay, you know, and again, I acknowledged in a past podcast, I don't take criticism well, so I was kind of like, oh man, I didn't really like that, but as somebody I respect, so I listened to it and I took it in. Then, a couple days later, I'm talking to my dad, and he says almost the same thing. He's like, Cam, this is why you keep fucking up. You're fucked up because you keep waiting and hoping and wishing for these opportunities to break. Yes, you're executing and you're doing these things, but you keep hindering yourself by saying, I hope, I wish, I want. You need to go out and take. I'm doing the things now, but I'm blocking myself by the way that I think. And I was telling my wife about it. So I bought that book. Let me see. It's like, You're a Badass. A lot of you guys will know what book it's called. Let me see. I'll pull it up here. Your orders. Delivered yesterday. I started reading it yesterday. You Are a Badass. How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life by Jen Sincero. I bought that book and I started reading it, and within the first chapter it's like, you are killing your potential self because you don't really believe it's possible. And she was talking about money, and specifically, and she was saying, you know, it's like walking out onto a porch. You want to spend time out on your front porch, and something has a god-awful smell. So you paint the deck thinking that that'll cover it up, and you know, you light incense and you put air fresheners and you do all this stuff, right? The smell still persists. And it's because you didn't take you didn't take the time to look under the deck and realize that a possum had crawled up under there and died. Well, every time you say things like, well, I'll never be that financially successful. It's just not in my nature. You're tossing a dead carcass under your porch, and it's resonating a stink, and it's a subconscious thing. Consciously, you're looking at, okay, painting the deck, aromatherapy, incense candles, whatever. That's your conscious mind. You're trying to act. That's great. Those are all great things to do, but you're not taking care of your subconscious mind, which is what lies underneath the deck. And for me, that's my challenge. And I know it. I know that if I get that part under control, when I get that under control in 2019 is actually going to be my year. Because I'm going to get rid of that self-doubt. I'm going to get rid of the thought that I'm not worth shit. And I want you all to dedicate to yourself that you'll do it too. I'm not asking you to go out and buy the books that I'm reading, and I'm not asking you to buy the supplements that I take, that I do to optimize my life and stuff. But what I am asking you to do, stop doubting yourself. When you're ready to really change your life, you have to understand that your hardwiring is a little fucked. All of our hardwiring is a little fucked. We're all pre-wired by our upbringing to believe that certain things aren't possible for us. We're all, by things that have been said, done, around us, to us, or from people we know and love, even as simple as the ways that our parents thought, spoke, and acted. Even if we acknowledge that our parents didn't do finances right, you have to understand that that is a part of you. For me, I always said, I never came from money, so not having it doesn't mean anything to me. So what I'm actually saying and what I'm actually putting out there is that money's not important. So I don't need it. So why would I then become successful in my different ventures? So what's happening is I'm putting in all this effort into the podcast, into the social media, into my job, my 9 to 5. But I'm also putting out that money's not important. So why go to sleep every night frustrated that I'm not making more money, or that these things that I'm investing my time in aren't producing more, when I keep doubting my own self and the necessity that it plays in my life? I can't. And you can't. Now again, away from money, I can say all day long, I want to be the best father in the world. But the want is what kills me. Because subconsciously, now consciously, because I'm saying it out loud, I think that I'm not capable of being a good father because I was always told, you're going to end up just like your dad. Or you're going to do this, you're going to do that. You ain't shit because of this. You're a shitty father because you live 4.5 hours away. All that stuff now has me going, I want to be a good father. Instead of going, I am a good fucking father. I drive 9 hours to see my kid. I'm fighting like hell to get time with my kid. I do everything I can for my kids. I'm a good fucking father. I've always had a problem with probably being overly humble. I never believe in being cocky. I never believe in being arrogant. But I'm always someone who was told and led to believe that I never did shit that was worth of value. So therefore, I don't ever want to go, I am a good father. I am a good fucking husband. I always look at the one thing that I did wrong. The one thing I'm not doing. The one thing I should have done, never did, could do. That's how I think. That's how I'm hardwired. And it's because of just being in years and years and years of mental bouts with people who would say things. You ain't shit. You're never going to be shit unless, you'll never be shit without me. You wouldn't have got this without me. You wouldn't, all that. 2018 in a couple days, a few days ago, I really realized, okay, the universe is trying to tell me something. It's trying to tell me, dude, look, we are scientifically a meat sack of energy. No matter what your religious or spiritual beliefs are, it is proven that we are meat sacks of energy. The energies and the vibrations that your soul, I believe it's your soul, is giving off is that of which you believe and that you'll manifest. Now I know I'm sounding super hokey and shit right now, right? Hear me out. So if I walk around all the time like the fucking psychopath that I am, see? Negative talk. But it's true. It is true. I have to acknowledge who I am to be able to fix it. So when I walk around and I'm in a mood, and then I walk in to, like yesterday, to go shave my beard, right? I went to trim this down because it was driving me nuts, and it was itching and it was tickling my nose. It was driving me fucking crazy. So I was like, fuck it, I'm done, I'm going in, and I start shaving my thing, right? But I'm pissed off, and I'm doing this, and I'm like, well, I'll probably fucking mess it up, and I'll shave off half my mustache and have to shave my beard off, and that's how I thought. And then I went and I elbowed all the shit on the side, my side of the sink. I knocked it off, and as soon as I knocked it off, I thought, well, of course, that's going to fall into the smallest fucking place that it can. Look down, bigger than fuck. It fell into a little tiny hole behind the toilet. And I was like, great, now it's all fucking dirty. And I went down this road of negativity. And then I'm like, well, no wonder. No fucking wonder. Look, if I'm literally, the vibration that I'm giving off as my soul, as my being, as my meat sack of a human being, I'm giving off a whole bunch of red. So I'm attracting a whole bunch of red. That's just the way it works. It's just, if you just think about it, take all spirituality, all that shit away from it. Think about it. If you put a magnet out there, it's going to attract whatever. It's gonna happen. I'm not a scientist in that way. A lot of people are probably like, actually, dumbass, the way a magnet works is it's the exact opposite and they cling together, because I'm a fucking moron. You get what I'm saying? If you're sitting there projecting negative is coming back. It's in all facets of religion, mind, behavior. Some people call it karma, some people call it energy, some people call it the law of attraction, but everyone is of the same idea that if you project out whatever it is, positive or negative, that is what the universe, God, science, whoever will return to you. It's the way that shit is realistically that it works. So what I've dedicated to, I'm not saying I hope to be better mentally. I'm going to be better. I'm going to stop this negative talk. I'm going to stop talking to myself like a second-class citizen. I'm going to stop expecting that my results will be that of a second-class citizen. I'm not starting it on January 1st at midnight, or tonight at midnight. I started it 2 days ago. I'm still falling short. I've called myself a moron at least 10 times during this podcast. I'm a work in progress, but I'm a work in progress that's actively working. I'm done with the I hope, I want, I wish, none of that shit. 2019, you guys will see, this is going to be my year. You will see this podcast grow to unfathomable heights. You will see financial freedom for me and my family. You will see our lives drastically improve. That I'm telling you. You all can do the same thing by changing the way that you think. I've never believed in something more. I believe in it wholeheartedly. And a lot of people are going to start to think, well, and right there I'm already fucked up because I'm caring too much about what people think about what I'm saying. But I know that the people out there, the keyboard warriors, are going to go, Cam read this book and he's on this energy shit. Guys, I've barely gotten past the introduction. I haven't read enough to even act like I know anything about what this book is going to be about. But that's something that keeps showing up in my life, and it has for the last 2 years since I've been on this journey of being a better person. And I believe in my heart that I am a better person than I was 2 years ago, and I'm going to be a much better person and a much more successful person at the end of 2019. So, with all that being said, I'm going to restart our camera one more time, and then we're going to go ahead and get into it. This camera is actually doing a lot better. I haven't had to restart it quite as much. I'm going to take here a little yerba mate break. And we're going to get into it. I'll put a link for that book if you guys want to check it out. It'll be in the bio link, whatever. And let's see what we got. As far as current events, Utah student murdered by harasser. Yeah. I actually have a little bit of personal experience with a situation like this. Plain as can be, police have got to step up. Police have got to step up. When someone comes and it was documented that she said, "Hey, this person is a problem. They keep messing with me. I need help." Nobody does anything. And usually what it is, and I hear it all the time, is, well, we don't have the funding to place officers in front of a house or this, that, and the other. Well, guess what? You can either put somebody to do a rotation around her house, take a swing around the block every couple hours or whatever, or you can take all the cruisers that you have and call people on their day off when you have to secure a scene and bring a 21-year-old girl's body out of a dorm room after she was murdered. So we got to do better. We have to do better. I don't even know the poor girl's name. My nose is itching like crazy. I don't know the poor girl's name. Rest in peace. It's a terrible news story. Very simply put, got to do better. When it comes here in Clarksville, Tennessee, that Veterans Treatment Court program that I was in, we had a girl whose ex-husband or fiance or whatever it was was domestically abusing her, was beating on her and stuff. She reported it as a harasser, tried to get a restraining order. The police wouldn't grant it, so they came back and the guy ended up murdering her and left her body on the side of 24 highway. Him and his cousin, I think. And it was like, okay, all you had to do is listen to this girl. She's telling you, hey, this is a problem, I need help. Nobody helped her. And then when she comes up missing, it's a big thing. Oh, well, rest in peace and this, that, and that. Do something first before these women's lives are lost. Like, we just have to do better. I'm not gonna harp on that one. We got to do better. Wrestler was forced to cut his dreads off before he would be allowed to wrestle. That one's tough. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Apparently this ref is known for kind of being a racist. He's a black gentleman with dreads, and he was told he had to cut his hair. I wrestled 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade. I'm in jiu-jitsu now. I've never heard some bullshit about a wrestler having to cut their hair. I've seen and wrestled against people that had dreads or long hair. It was a big thing back in like 2009. When I was a kid, we all had real long hair. You're wearing headgear. You kind of always knew that, like, what you can't purposely pull someone's hair, but at the same time, if you're moving around and your hair gets pulled, hey man, it's kind of on you for having it. But to have a wrestler cut his hair, that's fucked. That guy was wrong. That ref is wrong, and he should never coach again. He should definitely be investigated. Obviously, he's not going to go to jail for making a kid cut his hair. The kid could have told him to eat dicks and not wrestled in that match. But yeah, it was a huge case of misjustice and racism against that kid. That is terrible to see. I hated to see it. LeBron James stuck his foot in his mouth by saying that the mentality of NFL owners was a slave mentality. He said it's a bunch of white men with slave mentality who need to be checked. And then like 2 days later turned around and sent out a tweet that got his silly ass in trouble. He said, we making that Jewish money, which, I mean, again, then Jewish people turned around and got all pissed off about, was like, that's an anti-Semitic thing. And now again, he's quoting a song, but like, LeBron, be better. Be better. You talk all this stuff and you say all these things about, racism and I can't breathe and hands up, don't shoot, and a lot of those things I agree with them on. But you can't be a face for unity and for no discrimination and then say things like that. I get it. You didn't think about it. You didn't process it. I don't know what you were doing. I'm not going to assume you were sitting around smoking and drinking with your boys and listening to one of your buddies' rap albums and the song, we getting that Jewish money, fucking Mazel Tov, or whatever he said. You gotta think. when you're trying to make yourself, and let's not play, you are such a figure, especially against things like discrimination and what. Be better. Be better. That's all I can say to you. LeBron is. I like him. I'm a huge LeBron fan, but boy, oh boy, do I wish he would shut the fuck up sometimes. He's one of those guys that, and I've said it before, I'm not one of the guys that's like, hey, shut up and dribble. I'm just saying, LeBron, shut the fuck up sometimes. Not everything needs to be a statement. Not everything that comes out of your mouth needs to be whatever. You know, it's be better. Because if anybody else was to tweet out getting that Jewish money and then whatever he said would not have been an issue. Everyone knows what they're talking about. Stereotypically, Jewish people are tight with money and they're very well off financially. It's always made fun of that Jewish people are lawyers and accountants and stuff. I don't know if that shit is true. I think the jokes are there because it has at least some rationale of truth. But you can't, again, come out and say, we're all the same and these stereotypes need to stop. And then come out and go, getting that Jewish money. It's like, well, you're playing into the thing you're trying to battle. LeBron James, be better, dog. Next up, Floyd Money Mayweather. They call the man Money for a reason. He took a bout with a Korean kickboxer, a little 21-year-old kid. This guy kept baiting him into this fight. It was supposed to happen. Man, I really want to talk about the UFC fights. Balls. We're already 41 minutes into this thing. We're still going to. Floyd took this fight. He kind of got baited into it by this entertainment company, whatever. Floyd destroyed this kid. I put it on my Instagram feed. I'll see if I can't pull it, and I'll put it up here as I'm talking. Floyd just bullied him. I mean, honestly, I think he knocked the kid out in like 1 minute and 41 seconds. And this is a professional kickboxer from Korea. He just, literally, Floyd put his gloves up like this, let the guy punch the gloves. Floyd would come around, ding, 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 ding. Knocked him down once. The guy got up. You could tell he was razzled. Got up. Floyd walks up again, lets him punch a few times. Dunk, 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 dunk. Dropped him again. Second time. Third time he dropped him. That was it. The kid's crying and everything. It was honestly just embarrassing. It was embarrassing. But Floyd made $9 million. Was the purse he got for that bout. $9 million for 2 minutes worth of work. So good on you. Glad you made the money. That was an absolute shit show. As far as whoever put that on, that was kind of like the Tito and Chuck fight. Whoever put that on should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. I don't think anybody watched it, honestly. I follow all the MMA and boxing stuff, and I didn't even know the fight was happening yesterday, so I don't think people gave a fuck. Had they let that guy kick? Maybe. But from the looks of it, nah. That guy got his shit rocked, and again, it may not be the best quality video, but I'll try to put it up here above my head. Again, for the YouTube people, I'm pointing above my head. The last thing, and then we will talk about the fights because I want to end it on something positive, but this is something that I want to actually talk about. There's a Muslim, self-appointed Muslim leader, Islamic leader here in the United States, is saying that and I actually looked into this story, all United States restaurants need to have pork-free options on their menu, or else Muslims will leave the country. Now, let me take a drink of my yerba mate before I get into this. Okay. Muslim, Islamic culture, as a culture, I think it's a beautiful culture. I think that the legitimate ones are about peace and salam alaikum. I love you guys. Here's my thing. When you get anyone out there that demands things, right? And especially says things like, you have to do this or else we're going to leave. you're immediately going to cause outrage. Here's what I, if I was in that community, would have done. I would have told that person who got on TV and said that, you're a fucking moron. Because you're inciting outrage. You already know people are going to get pissed because you, as a Muslim, are trying to tell me, an American, anything. You know the climate. I'm not saying it's right, but let's not fuck around. That's what's going to happen. To the majority, I understand the majority of people don't think and are not as forgiving as I am, right? I know that there's people out there that will immediately be like, fuck this and fuck that guy and no Muslim's going to tell me nothing. That's an asinine way of thinking. I understand that. I'm acknowledging that. But the truth is in the pudding, okay? It's going to be there. You're going to get it. So you've already set your message back a far way in a lot of people's minds. Second, you cannot, I don't care who you are, whether you're a Muslim or a vegan or a vegetarian or a keto or whoever, whatever the fuck you do, you can't enforce anyone to do anything. You cannot put it on restaurants to say, you will make this type of food for me because of my beliefs. No. It's not their fucking problem what you believe. Just as much as it's not their right to violate what you believe, it's also not their job to cater to your beliefs and your diet. Now, the problem would arise, right? Let's play some of these scenarios out. That you sit down at a restaurant, you go, oh shit, there's no porkless options here, I have nothing I can eat. That's okay, I'll figure something out. They'll have something that I can or cannot eat, or guess what, maybe not, and we'll go somewhere else. Next time, your friends go, hey, let's go back to that spot. And you go, shit, they don't have anything I can eat there. Let me bring something, right? Waiter comes to the table. They go, hey, you can't do that. No outside food inside of our restaurant. And you go, hey, real quick, I'm not trying to cause a thing, but I'm Muslim, and you guys don't have any porkless options. We're in a barbecue joint. Everything here is based or cooked in or whatever. There's nothing I can eat here. And what should happen is they go, oh, okay, enjoy your meal. Well, your guys' food will be right out. I get it. It's not always going to happen. But you cannot enforce things on people. And you definitely the big stuff back, right? By already, you're playing into the Muslim versus American. We're all against each other. No, we're not. It's all one love, and it is what it is. My camera died. We lost a bunch of the YouTube. Sorry about that, YouTube. You cannot come around anybody, especially Americans, and go, you will change the way you do things to do it the way I want it. It's just not going to go well. We're egotistical, we're privileged, we're all kinds of shit that's not good. Again, not all of us. I'm not here bashing Americans, okay? I am one, and I've already acknowledged my privilege and my stupidity in America. But you're gonna kill more. You're gonna get more flies with honey than vinegar, kind of thing, right? If you and really, really, really don't add the cherry on the top for them by going, if you don't do this, I'm gonna leave. Because let's take out all religion or country bias, nationalist bias, right? Let's take it all out. If I walk up to Joe Schmo in the grocery store, and I go, hey, if you guys don't carry the entire line of Guyeki yerba mates and you don't carry it, I'm going to fucking leave. Guess what they're going to tell me? Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. Because it's not that they have an opposition to the Guyeki yerba mate line. They don't. They obviously carry some of their stuff, or else I wouldn't be there in the first place. But I came in going, this is what you will do or you'll lose my business because it's so fucking important. I'm now putting myself on a pedestal and lowering where you stand on this pedestal. I'm saying my needs and my wants are more important than yours, and if you don't do it, I'm going to get out of here because who I am is so precious. Human behavior will always dictate. They're going to tell you to get fucked. Has nothing to do with being Muslim. It has nothing to do with being in America. It has nothing. It really doesn't. It's human nature. If you approach somebody that way, they're gonna tell you to eat dicks. And rightfully so. Right, in my opinion, rightfully so. If you come up and tell me you will do this or I'm leaving, bye. Bye. That's humans. That's human beings. And as much as I wish that they would have come about this a different way, they didn't. So now their message has been tarnished. Again, do I wish that this was all set up in a space where everyone of every culture and ethnicity could sit at any table and have something to eat? Of course I do. Of course I do. But most places don't have the resources for that. Most places don't even understand different cultures' cuisines enough to understand that, or let alone their cultural and societal norms and ways of life. You're asking a lot from people. Okay? You're also asking people to give a shit, which I think we've learned in, especially I realize it every day. People, I think, today are becoming more self-centered and more egotistical than I've ever seen people. They really are. I walk through Kroger's is usually where I have the issue. And I'll be walking through an aisle. I'm coming to the end of an aisle. I look both ways to make sure nobody's coming, like I'm crossing a street. And there was the other night when I went to go get chicken wings before the Notre Dame game, and God knows I don't want to talk about that. There was a lady standing, I'd say probably 7 to 10 feet away. I had plenty of room. If I wanted to turn left or right, I could have. So I see her. She's looking at me, making eye contact with me. I said, "Hi, how are you?" She didn't say anything. I come to the end of the aisle. I go to turn right. As my cart goes out into the main aisle to make the right, again, I've got plenty of room. She then turns her cart into mine to start walking now. Again, we're making eye contact with each other. But she decided at that moment that was the time she was going to go, and me already being there didn't mean shit. And I said, "Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry." And she just glared at me and kept walking. And I was like, that was weird. That almost seemed intentional. What the fuck did I do? Then I'm walking through the thing. And again, same basic idea. I'm going to turn into the main aisle, and some guy runs his cart into the front of mine. And I'm like, "Oh, dude, I'm so sorry. Excuse me." He looks at me and keeps walking. And I was like, what the fuck? And I realized people just don't care. People genuinely don't care. I always try to watch and look and see what I'm doing and be very observant. And if something happens, again, you're in a grocery store. Sometimes you're going to bump and rub up against each other. Hey, sorry about that. Not a big deal. People are more egotistical than they've ever been. And I do believe that. I believe people are still good, but I believe people truly care about themselves way more than they care about other people. And so with that being said, the leader of the Muslim society or whatever, she was speaking for all Muslims, which I think is not a good idea anyway. I don't think anyone should ever speak for an entire group of people. I should call this the do better section because, again, do better. Don't come out on the national television and say, well, if you don't do this, then we're going to leave. Because guess what? Those same, I would say, radical idiots that would be super pissed off that you you did demand that they do these things that got so pissed because Muslims and we're American, all those dumbasses. Anybody who's going to do that, they're going to rejoice when you say, or we're going to leave. It was like when the people who supported Hillary said, if Donald Trump wins, we're going to move to Canada. And everyone was like, where's your fucking bags now, dummy? When he won, right? And it's people just can't wait to go, ha, we won. See what I'm saying? Guys, so let's turn this into a positive here, right? What can we do? What can we do? We can stop the division. We can, next time a tagline or a headline pops up on your thing that is something of this sort, one, don't immediately disregard it because it's a Muslim community. Listen to it. Listen to their concerns. It may be genuine. When somebody has good intentions but maybe doesn't verbalize it the best. Maybe she was nervous, right? Maybe she had never been on national TV before and she goes, all right, here's my message. What am I going to do? This, that, and this, and that. And then she goes, you know what? I got to go out there and I've got to be assertive. We need help. I've got to be assertive. I've got to do this for my community. Goes out there, hey, this is what we want, and if you don't do it, we're out. And she was like, shit, shouldn't have said that. Fuck. And she kicks herself all the way home. She goes, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. Man, that's not going to go well for me. And guess what? It didn't. So let's not judge based off what a tagline says. And then if someone makes a comment that might not have been the best, show some grace. Give this lady another chance. Maybe someone pulls her back on the air and goes, hey, let's clarify. What did you actually mean? Who are you really speaking for? What are you actually trying to get across? Well, it's really difficult for us as Muslim Americans or just Muslims in America to go and have lunch or dinner with our friends because when they eat places, a lot of times we can't eat it. So it would just be really great if people would understand that we're here and we're here in masses and we would like to be able to blend in with the community and we'd really like to be able to sit down and have a meal with people that we choose to have meals with. That's really what I'm trying to say here, and that's important to me because we want to blend into the community and we want to just be treated as everyone else. We don't want to be looked at as radicals. That's all we're really asking for here. If you come at that way, okay, now we're having a conversation. Now you get people that sign in your petitions and are urging Applebee's and Texas Roadhouse and all these places. Hey, look, man, let's have a section that is pork free because I had that incident happen. I used to work at Texas Roadhouse, specifically in the baked potatoes at Texas Roadhouse are oiled in bacon grease. That's why they taste so good. Well, the waitress didn't know that. A Muslim family sits down and says, hey, just so you know, we don't eat any pork, so please no bacon bits on our potatoes, stuff like that. But did not inform them that the bacon grease was what greased up the outside of the baked potatoes. So they get it, they take a bite, and they taste it. They know. And they were like, was this maybe? And she goes, let me check for you. Comes back and goes, yeah, actually they are. They're in bacon grease. And these people were pissed. They were like, well, what the fuck? We told you this, that, and this. And she's like, I didn't know. I didn't know. And they were like, but you should know. Like, I told you, you should have made the point. And I agree. She should have. She should have known. But it's one of those things. How far do you expect? How much should we expect people to delve into their own? What's the word I'm looking for here? Acquiring of knowledge to better serve us in our lifestyles. How much should we expect others to truly care and invest their time to making sure that our way of life is upheld? It's tough. Especially when you're dealing with like waitresses and waiters and stuff. Usually they're younger individuals and usually they're not killing it in life, Like, let's just be real. We're all playing a game. We're all in a simulation and we're all just trying not to bump into each other the wrong way so our character lives on and progresses through the game, right? It's not always easy. I hate to say it. I wish that we could all cultures and all societies sit down and have a one meal together where everyone can eat a meal that works for their culture, but it's just tough. It's tough because people aren't always going to act in the best way. People aren't always going to have the best intentions. And people aren't always going to have the knowledge that it would require for us all to live in perfect harmony. And I think that that's the problem. I don't think that's a problem that will ever truly be rectified. I don't think people... It's unfortunate to say, but I think that we are, as human beings, we are such survivalists at heart. We're bred in our DNA to do what it takes to survive, that ultimately I care about me more than I care about you and what you want and or need. Now again, I make a conscious effort to try not to be that way. And I'm not perfect at it, but there are some people who don't even acknowledge that they are that way, that is primal in them, and that there's something that really has to be acknowledged and worked on and worked towards to not be that way. That some people are just assholes, and they're just egotistical and narcissist, and they truly do believe that fuck everybody else, I'm going to do what it takes for me and mine to survive. And again, I can't be mad at that either. As much as it's my right to live the way that I want, and as much as it is the Muslim community to live the way they want, and Christian communities, or keto or paleo or CrossFit to bodybuilding to MMA, as much as it is your right to pursue the lifestyle you want, it's the right of someone else's. As long as they are not trying to physically harm you or discriminate against you because of who you are and your beliefs, they can honestly kind of be an asshole if they want. And there's not a lot we can do about it. But what we can do about it is make a conscious effort as individuals that we are not going to be that way, and we're not going to treat other people that way. With that, we are sitting at 1 hour and 40 seconds. So I'm going to sign off. I've been dying, if you can't tell, to be back. Be back in the podcast studio, recording, doing the thing. This is where my heart and my soul lives. I live, as far as my work right now, I live for this podcast. Obviously, I have many other things that I live for, but as far as my creations and my artistic outlets and my creative outlets and my social media things, this podcast is where I'm living, because I really get to put the things that I think about out there, and I truly believe that other people are thinking the same and can connect with it. And I appreciate every single one of you guys that listens. It means the world to me. You'll never know how much it means to me that you guys do listen. If you do listen and the numbers that I see aren't bullshit, can you guys do me a favor? Just start liking the videos. If you're listening on SoundCloud, just click the heart that should be right there. If these are real people behind the numbers that I'm seeing, please, if you're on YouTube, or not on YouTube, well, if you do listen on YouTube too, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please, on the iTunes, subscribe and leave us a review. Leave us an honest review. What do you think? Give me feedback. Feedback is how I make this show better. Feedback is how I take this from being my show to our show. I want this to be our show. So, and I ask all the time for feedback. I don't really get it much. I truly don't. I'm going to be honest. It says that we have, a couple thousand people listen, and they tune in pretty quickly when the uploads, or, when the podcast uploads. Just from the one last night, we're already sitting at 828 people that listen to the one that I posted last night. So, and it tells me even what city you guys live in. Ashburn, Virginia is still the number one listened city that's listening out there. If you guys will, just let me know that you're real. Let me know that there really are heartbeats out there listening to this show. And if you can, subscribe to wherever you're, whatever outlet you're using, hit the subscribe or follow button. And if you will, hit the review, leave me a review and let me know. If you want to leave comments on how the show can be better, please email me, road2redemptionpodcast@gmail.com. Or if it's easier, and I know it's kind of an old school thing to email somebody, hit me on the DMs on Instagram, @KenWilliamsonOfficial. Shoot me a line and say, hey man, I really do listen to the show. It means a lot. It means a lot when you guys do that, because I question. I really do. Like, again, I asked people all out on the Instagram today, hey, send me in your New Year's resolutions and your goals and what you want to happen. And I had to, everybody that just commented and said, hey, Happy New Year, Cam, I then said, hey, by the way, what's your 2019 resolution? What do you want to come into fruition this 2019? And then they answered it. I've had people tell me before, hey, I don't leave anything because I don't want to bother you. I don't want to inconvenience you by having to respond to this. Guys, I'm asking for it. You're not inconveniencing me. I just honestly feel like the numbers that I see sometimes are bullshit, because when I ask things, or when I put the feelers out there, a lot of the times it's silent, and I want this to be our show. So again, if you will, subscribe and follow. Hit the thumbs up if you've got one. Your thumbs up button on iTunes is pretty much subscribing and leaving a review. It means the world. That's how you guys can help me and help this podcast grow. Again, if these numbers are real. If not, then it is what it is, and somebody's really trying to inflate my ego with the numbers that I see. Guys, I love you. Happy freaking New Year to you. 2018 is over. You made it. Please, for all things holy, be safe. Don't drink in excess. If you do, don't drink and drive. If you drink at all, don't drive. And know that there's somebody that's looking forward to talking to you in 2019. I love you guys. I'll check in with you next week.